now we actually have a complete bash shell. So we can run any bash commands we want. The exact same commands that we've seen in the Linux basics section at the start of this course. So I won't be going about how you do man and how you do help to see how you use the commands. I'm going to skip through that. And I want to show you a few commands that are useful when you first gain access to a server. So the first thing you want to check is what's my privileges at the moment. And the privileges depend on how you gained your access. So it depends on the page that you gained your access through. So we got our access through this current page. So depending on what privileges this page is running as, we will get the same privileges when we get our reverse shell. Same goes for SQL, same goes for everything really. So I'm going to do who am I. And as you can see now, my privileges are www data. So I'm not root, I'm not admin, I'm not MSF admin, I'm www data. And this is very important because when you're root, you can do anything you want on the server. When you are another user, then you have less privileges or less permissions to do stuff on the current web server. So another thing that you want to check is the kernel version of the computer. So you can do uname A, and this will display a lot of information other than the kernel version. So you see the computer name, and you can see the version of the kernel. This is important if you're trying to run a local exploit to escalate your privileges to a higher privileges, or maybe even get root privileges, which will give you access to do anything you want on the whole server, not only on this website. Now, as I said, you can run any of the commands that we learned so far. So you can do ls to list the current files, and we can see that there is help, index, and source. You can do pwd to see where you are, and we are currently at var, www, dvwa, vulnerabilities, and exec. So you can navigate through these exactly the same way you'd navigate with a normal Linux system. So we can do a cd ... to go back, do a pwd, and we're at vulnerabilities, again cd ... and another cd ... Now, if I do a pwd, you'll see that I'm at var www, and this is the document root at the moment. So if I do an lsl to get more information, and note, we can see here the permissions. And before the permissions now, if you see, notice that there is a D here. That D means that this is a directory, it's not a file. And when you don't see the D, that means it's a file in here. Now you can see that we have access to all the other websites. So we can access the TikiWiki website. We can also access the Metilliday website. And you can access the DVWA right here. So what this shows you is, if you manage to hack into any website, then most of the time you can actually navigate to the same websites on the same server. And this is what I said in the information gathering section. I said it's very important because sometimes your target website will not have any vulnerabilities, but you might find something on the same server. And from that, you can navigate to your website. So for example, we gained our access through DVWA. And let's say Metilliday was our actual target, but we couldn't find anything in it. So we hacked into the server through DVWA, and I can navigate now to Metilliday. So I can just do cd Metilliday, and then I can do an lsl to see the files. So you can remove files using the rm command. You can delete files. You can do anything you want really now in the other website, in Metilliday. Even though we never actually got access to Metilliday, we got our access through DVWA. Now, one of the very important commands is cat, which allows you to read files. And one very important file that you always want to read is the etc password. Now, we actually try to read this using the local file inclusion vulnerability, but I want to show you now. So if you do a cat etc password, you can see that we can read all the content of this file right here. And what this file has, it shows you the users installed on the current computer, and it shows you the directory for these users. Now, in this particular setup, all the websites are stored in var www. So they're stored in var www, and then you can put dvwa to access the dvwa website, or you can put Metilliday to access Metilliday. Most of the time, you won't see this. In most websites, they actually create a user for each website. And the user usually corresponds to the website name. So for example, let's say your target was Facebook, then the user would be called Facebook or Facebook user or something similar to that. So what you'd want to be doing is you want to go through this file and see the path for that for your target website. So let's say you hacked into this website through Google and Facebook is on the same server, then look for a user called Facebook and then just navigate to that file. Now you can see that the www data user right here, and you can see that it has its directory stored at var www. Again, if you open that, you'll see all the websites in here. So if we just do cd var, then you can list whatever you want. So the take-home lesson from this is that on a reverse shell, you can basically run any command, any Linux command you have, depending on the privileges that you have. The privileges depend on the page or the source that gave you the access. So whatever privileges that resource is running, you'll actually get the same privileges, the same permissions. And once you're in a server, the server is just a computer. So once you gain access to that server, you can increase your privileges, you can escalate them, and try to access other websites on the same server. How you access the other websites? It's in the etc password. You list that, and you see the user corresponding to your target website, and just open their directory using the cd command. Now I'm going to attach a list of the bash commands that you can run so that you can go through them, try them, and see how they work for you.